This lecture is about protein energy malnutrition. So first you must know about the term malnutrition. But before malnutrition, let's start from the nutrition. Like for the healthy lifestyle, for the healthy living, the nutrition must include in a balanced way. Like a person for a healthy life, they must take all the nutrients in a balanced way. In a specific proportion, different types of nutrients are gained. So the what the balanced diet consists of. The balanced diet must include the carbohydrate, that carbohydrate are required for the energy, that the carbohydrate are the quickest source of energy, and then they must their food must their plate must include the proteins, that the proteins are the building blocks of the body. They're required for the synthesis of enzymes, hormones, muscles, and they have many other functions. And it must include the fats, that the fat provides the insulation and protection to the body, and it must include the fruits and vegetables. With all these nutrients constitutes the when all these nutrients are taken in a specific proportion, in a specific amount, in a specific percentage, it includes a balanced diet. With all these nutrients have their specific functions, and these nutrients are required to the body in a specific amount. So all these nutrients, when present in the food, it is required for the healthy living. So you must say that the balanced diet is basically a good nutrition. When you take the nutrition in a balanced way, and it must include the all nutrients in a specific proportion, on a specific amount, in a specific quantity, then it all constitute the balanced diet. So balanced diet is basically the good nutrition. So you must take the good nutrition in a way that you must balance all the nutrients in a specific way, in a specific proportion. You must take all the nutrients because all these nutrients have the specific function in the body, and they are required by the body in a specific quantity, in a specific proportion. So if the nutrients are not consumed in a balanced way, or there is any deficiency, or there is any or the diet is deficient in one nutrient, or there is decreased nutrition intake from one of them, like if the person is taking all the nutrients but not taking the proteins, or not taking the fats, and not taking the carbohydrates, or one of them and taking the one specific nutrient and but ignoring the other nutrient, then what will happen is not the balanced diet. So if you are not taking if the person is not taking the balanced diet, that all the it must include all the nutrients in a specific proportion, then what will happen that it's the malnutrition. And when the person is not taking, if there is no intake of balanced diet, like if there is deficiency of the specific nutrients for such a prolonged time or a sufficient length of time, then it leads to the malnutrition. Then eventually what will happen that if there is a decrease or deficiency of a specific nutrient for such a prolonged time or for such a long time, then it leads to different disorders and diseases. Then the most important type of malnutrition is protein calorie malnutrition, also known as protein energy malnutrition. So protein energy malnutrition, or if you can say that protein calorie malnutrition, is the most important, is the most common, is the most important malnutrition. So in protein energy malnutrition, there is the deficiency of both proteins, and also there is the deficiency of energy. As we say that proteins are the important nutrients that are required by the body for to perform different specific functions. Like they are building blocks of the body. They are required in the sense of enzymes, hormones, muscles, and there are transport proteins, and many other functions are performed by the proteins. And there is in protein energy malnutrition, there is not only the deficiency of the proteins for a prolonged time, but there is also deficiency of energy, as energy is provided by the other nutrients like the proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, fruits, and vegetables. So in protein energy malnutrition, there is a deficiency of the protein, and there is also a deficiency of the energy. The protein energy malnutrition are classified into two main important diseases known as kwashiorkor and marasmus. So these are the two important diseases that result due to the malnutrition, that there is the deficiency of the nutrients for a prolonged period of time that will lead to different disorders and diseases in the person. So basically, this kwashiorkor merismus, this protein energy malnutrition, the most important and the severe form of the protein energy malnutrition, is most common in children. More specifically, kwashiorkor occurs in the children between the age of 1 to 5 years, but merismus occurs in the children having the age less than 1 year. So merismus are more smaller age, like less than 1 year of age. It includes the children's infants less than 1 year of age, and kwashiorkor occurs in the children between the age of 1 to 5 years of age. So let's see one by one in detail. First, we will look at the kwashiorkor. That kwashiorkor is also known as edematous protein energy malnutrition because the most characteristic feature of the kwashiorkor is edema formation. So it is also known as kwashiorkor and also known as edematous protein energy malnutrition. So kwashiorkor basically occurs as it's a malnutrition. So it means that there will be the deficiency, or it must be deficient in the nutrient. So which nutrient is basically deficient in kwashiorkor? The sphere protein deficiency. That in kwashiorkor the protein is severely deficient. That it most specifically occurs in the children. But there is adequate energy intake. It means that the other nutrients are provided, like the fats uh, and carbohydrates and other nutrients are given, are taken up by the infants, but the diet taken by the infants, by these children, are usually deficient in proteins. So why this happens, that why their diet is specifically deficient in protein, and but they have the adequate carbohydrate and the other nutrients are provided in the diet, but only the specific protein is deficient in their diet. So this kwashiorkor usually occurs in the in the infants as 1 to 5 years of age. So this disease is also known as weaning. Is basically used for the children, that when they stop the mother milk, when the mother milk is stopped for them, and they are given the other foods besides the mother milk, like other foods that often must contain all the nutrients. And when they are given the other nutrients, basically, then this disease occurs in the weaning child. Like when they are discontinued from the mother milk, they start taking the other foods. They are given the other foods, but these foods are usually deficient in protein. So when they take insufficient protein diet, then they lead to the development of the disease known as weaning disease or kwashiorkor. So, what are the clinical features of kwashiorkor? How these children must appear, as the age for the kwashiorkor is between 1 to 5 years. That weaning disease, when the child are stopped from the mother milk and then they are given the other foods. But when the foods are given to them are basically malnourished, that they can are basically deficient or insufficient in protein diet. So they will develop the symptoms or clinical features for the kwashiorkor. So how the child will appear? What are the symptoms for that will indicate the presence of the kwashiorkor disease? That will indicate the absence of the or deficiency of the protein in their diet. There will be the scaly skin appearance, and there is the distended abdomen. That basically because of the swollen liver, that there is the development of fatty liver, and because of the swollen liver, the child appears with the distended abdomen. And there is this swollen ankles and edema formation. So you will see that how the edema occurs. The most characteristic feature of this kwashiorkor is edema. That the child usually appears with the edema formation. So what is the mechanism for the formation of edema in case of kwashiorkor? That in kwashiorkor there is the nutrient which is deficient is the protein. So how the edema occurs? These are the cells which contain the intracellular fluid, and the outside the intracellular fluid is the extracellular fluid, and these are the blood vessels. As in the body, there are the blood vessels, and then there are the cells and the extracellular space. So in the blood vessels, at the blood flow inside the blood vessels, at the plasma, so the proteins are responsible for the to keep flowing this blood inside the blood vessel. That they keep this blood inside the blood vessels, and the blood does not leak from the blood vessels into the extracellular space. So this pressure, this is known as a pressure, that it grows the pressure. Proteins are required or help the blood to flow inside this the plasma flow inside this blood vessels, and does not leak out them into the blood vessels. Like it keeps the oncotic pressure, is known as oncotic pressure. So oncotic pressure helps them to flow inside the blood vessels, and it does not allow the leakage of the blood or the plasma inside the outside the blood vessels into the extracellular space. So when there is low oncotic pressure, in case of low oncotic pressure, what will happen that this blood will be or plasma will be leaked out into the from the blood vessels into the extracellular fluid. So how this usually happens, the protein that keeps the oncotic pressure is basically albumin. Albumin, what does the albumin do? That albumin is required for the oncotic pressure of the plasma. So when there is hypoalbuminemia, like decreased level of the albumin inside the blood, so what will happen that this oncotic pressure is low, then the plasma will leak out into the extracellular spaces. Then by the accumulation of the of the plasma into the extracellular space, it results into the formation of the edema. So basically, the edema results due to the hypoalbuminemia, that low level of albumin inside the blood, which causes low oncotic pressure, that it will not be able to keep the blood flowing inside the blood vessels, and from the blood vessels, this plasma will leak out into the extracellular spaces. And when they leak out into the extracellular space, they lead to the formation of the, and there will be the swelling. There is the formation of the edema. So that's the most important and characteristic feature for the Cavich-Yorker. The other important feature is the fatty liver. That because of the fatty liver, the child is having the distended or the swollen abdomen. So fatty liver, basically, how the fatty liver occurs. Fatty liver is basically also because of the decreased synthesis of the plasma proteins by the liver. The liver is also involved in the synthesis of different proteins. Like liver, in the liver, there will be the decreased synthesis of the protein because the diet is deficient in the proteins. It's malnourished, and specifically malnutrition is for the specifically for the proteins. Then what will happen when there will be the decreased synthesis of the plasma proteins? That plasma protein is required. The most specifically, the plasma protein in this case is the apolipoprotein, which is required for the transport of the triglycerides and other lipids from the liver. So when there is no transport of triglycerides and lipids from the liver because of the absence of this protein, plasma protein, then what will happen? There will be the accumulation of the triglycerides and other lipids inside the liver. Then liver will get impaired, and then it will lead to the formation of the fatty liver. So these are the most important clinical features for the development of the disease known as Cavich-Yorker or the weaning disease. That it occurs weaning disease because it occurs in the child when they are stopped from the mother milk and start taking the other foods. Now let's come to the other important, the most important and most prevalent is the marasmus. So marasmus is also known as non-edematous protein energy malnutrition. Marasmus is known as non-edematous protein energy malnutrition as compared to the Cavich-Yorker because no edema occurs in this disease as compared for the Cavich-Yorker. As in the Cavich-Yorker, there was the formation of the edema, but in the marasmus, there is no edema formation. So marasmus usually occurs in the child less than 1 year age or 2 year of age. No, so you can say that the child that feeds the mother milk, that are on the feeding of the mother milk. But why the marasmus occurs? As the Cavich-Yorker occurs when they are stopped from the mother milk and start taking the other foods. But for the marasmus, what happens that they must be on the mother milk, but they are given the other foods, other watery fluids are given that contains the other fruits and vegetables. Then they are deficient in the calories, and they are not given the mother milk, and they are not feeded on the mother milk and given the other foods and other fluids, and other fluids are basically deficient in the energy and the proteins. So that's the malnutrition. So that's why the child becomes the malnourished. So marasmus basically it is deficient in both, but like marasmus was deficient only in proteins, but were not deficient in the but were taking all the other nutrients were adequate, were enough, like fats and carbohydrates and other nutrients were enough, but were only deficient in the protein. But in case of marasmus, the child is basically deficient in both calories, means like energy, and proteins. There is the deficiency of the whole, like the child is deficient in proteins and also deficient in other calories like carbohydrates, fats, and other nutrients are also deficient in this case, because the child is given the fluids and the watery gruels and the other local foods that are basically does not contain all the nutrients and all the calories that are required for the development and for the normal healthy functions of the child. So what are the clinical features for the marasmus? How the child will appear? Like in marasmus, there is the deficiency of all the things, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So the child will appear very much weak. There will be the hair loss. The child will appear as a very old person face, wrinkled face, and having the severe muscle wasting. Severe muscle wasting is because of the deficiency of the carbohydrates and the fats, that they are the richest source of the energy, and as the fat is required for the insulation protection. So all these fats and carbohydrates will be deficient, so there will be severe muscle wasting, and the child will appear very much weak. All the things will be low. That the child will be having the growth retardation, and but the growth retardation is common for both kwashiorkor and marasmus. So there will be the growth retardation because of the deficiency of all the nutrients. There will be the anemia, like there will be the low production of hemoglobin, there will be low production of red blood cells. The child will be anemic, and there will be no edema formation as compared to the kwashiorkor. No edema basically occurs because, as in kwashiorkor, the edema basically occurs because of the deficiency of the protein, most specifically the albumin protein is required for the development of the amphotic pressure. So the child appears edema. But in this case, no edema occurs because this child is not basically specifically deficient in the protein, but deficient in all other nutrients. So what will happen when all the nutrients are deficient for the child? Then the child will develop the starvation adaptations. So for the starvation adaptations, there is a separate lecture that how the body adapts itself in case of starvation. So when the body adapts itself in case of starvation, it is known as starvation adaptations. So what happens in starvation adaptations, that the proteins and the electrolytes levels are appears normal. Like the body adapts itself in case of starvation, so the proteins and the electrolytes are in the normal range. So that's why the child does not appear the edema in case of marasmus. So this was all about the malnutrition, more specifically the most prevalent, most important protein energy malnutrition or protein calorie malnutrition. So we just discussed about the two most important diseases of the protein energy malnutrition, that's the kwashiorkor and marasmus. So there are the differences, some common things, and some different differences between the kwashiorkor and marasmus, that it occurs between the age of weaning trials, and marasmus usually occurs on the more in the less than of the age of 1 year or 2 year. Um, and there were some characteristic features, clinical features for the kwashiorkor and the marasmus. And what would be the treatment for this kwashiorkor and marasmus is just the nutrition therapy, that the nutrition supplementation is given, that it must replace these nutritional deficiencies either by the food or it can be through different supplementations.